Hey guys, it's Will and welcome back to the channel. Now, I've had loads of DMs and emails and all sorts of things asking me what is the first thing that you guys should be making as your first leatherwork project. So I thought, what better way than to come on, make a video and show you exactly what to make as your first leather project. I'm going to be teaching you how to make your very own leather mouse mat. Now, it's not your basic mouse mat of just one piece of leather to roll your mouse around. It's a really beautiful double-sided mouse mat that you can use for years to come. And let's get started, shall we? Alright, so to make this mouse mat, we're going to be using a Italian vegetable tan leather. It's called Buttero, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced. But it's perfect for this application because it doesn't mark too easily, but it's really easy to work with. I have already cut out the pattern for the mouse mat, but that's just so that this video doesn't go on for too long. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut out the lining leather. In this particular instance, I'm going to be using a bull calf. I believe it's French, but I could be wrong. I can't quite remember which one this is. You always want to overcut your lining leather regardless of what you're making, whether it's a wallet, a watch strap or a mouse mat. You always want it to be oversized, and that's just so that you don't accidentally have too little leather and have to start all over again. Now, I've done quite a lot of research when I was going to make this for you guys, and what I saw was a lot of people saying, oh, you need to use a suede. However, and as you can see in this testing, it doesn't actually matter. What most people say you need to use a suede for is so that the leather so the mouse mat doesn't slide around, but as you can see, it doesn't make a difference. So in this instance, I'm going to be using just the normal flesh side, the normal grain side of the leather. Suede is simply the grain side, so the top finished side sanded off. That's all suede is. So we're going to be marking out the pattern, the size of the mouse mat onto the lining leather, so that we know we've got enough for starters, but also so that once we have put the glue down, there's glue covering all the sides. Now, I will be stitching this particular mouse mat. If you don't feel confident in your stitching quite yet, you don't need to, and the reason I'm putting so much glue on is so that you don't have to stitch it. But the really important thing is that you get 100% coverage, but also, and possibly more importantly, you let the glue fully set. Now with contact adhesive, you want to let it set so that it goes completely clear, and this is actually the same for all types of contact adhesive, whether it's water based or alcohol based, I think. But anyway, I'm going to be using a water-based adhesive here, and you know when it's completely ready to be bonded when the white colour, in this instance, is completely gone and it's 100% clear, which you'll see in just a moment. So when you're using a contact adhesive, you need to put the glue on both sides. If you're just using a PVA, you put it on one and then join the two together, but with the contact adhesive, you need to put it on both sides. So now it's completely set, and you can see, you kind of can't really see it anymore because it's completely clear. It dries entirely clear, but it's pressure based, so once you've put the two sides together, you'll see me rubbing it quite frantically, because you need to make sure it's 100% together, and that will allow you not to have to stitch it. I'm stitching it more for aesthetic purposes, because I really like how stitching looks, but also because the edges can peel if you're not quite careful enough. But I'm being quite careful here, and I'm going over it both with my hand, but also a roller, just to make sure that that is completely attached together. Now the next step is to cut the entire mouse mat down to size. So I'm going to be using my Japanese knife. It's one of my favorite knives to use, and we're going to be cutting it down to size. Now I'm not doing any edge finishing on this, and you'll see that later that I don't do any edge finishing, and that's simply because I really like the two-tone look. You can it entirely depends what your base leather is, what the leather that's on the bottom is, that whether or not it's going to be two-toned or not. But also, this video is designed specifically for beginners, so if you don't know how to finish an edge yet, you don't actually need to, and it will slowly burnish over time. It will slowly seal up the edges over time as it's on your desk and used and rubbed against and things. Now for those of us who are going to stitch it, you can see me marking out the holes here. I always put my stitching line 3mm from the edge, and I use a wing divider to do that. And now I'm punching the holes onto the 3mm stitching line using my KS blade punch. Now I'm using a 3mm punch on this because I find it the most aesthetically pleasing and most satisfying to look at, but also it's not tight enough that it would take years to stitch. And here we go. So the stitching is going to take quite a while for something this size, and the bigger it is, the more stitches are going to be there. As you can see, there's a little bit of wax coming off the thread, and that's because I slightly over waxed it. And I do have a video on my channel of how to wax thread. It's part of my how to saddle stitch video. But if you over wax it as you pull it through that first hole, the excess wax will come off. But that is melted into the fibers, so you're not losing strength. One of the main reasons for waxing the thread is to increase the strength of it, because it's linen, it's an entirely natural substance. And now we're going to do my 1.5 back stitches here. It doesn't need to be more than that because it's not a structural stitch. If it was a belt, for instance, you might want to do a couple more, but I have videos on my channel demonstrating how to do that. And now we're going to tap down the edge. Some people think that it's just aesthetic tapping it down, but it's really not. It closes those holes around the thread. I'm going to do a video on my channel coming up about why to tap it down, but we're going to. And finally is the edge creasing. Again, more an advanced thing. If you have an edge creaser, please feel free to do that. If you don't worry about it. Your mouse mat will look just as beautiful without that crease. I'm just demonstrating it here for those of us who have an edge creaser and want to do it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.